Round number 2, we're going to get into the buzzword of probably the past
fake
2
news.
Yeah,
Fake
news.
news.
That's fake news. That's fake news. Knock it off.
Whatever
That's
you're-
fake news.
Big time
Fake
fake
news.
news stories
Whatever you're
coming
saying.
out.
Right.
Fake news. And finally, the DOD is going to try to do something. Cons, you want to walk us through this story?
Yes. Fake news and social media posts are such a threat to the United States security that the Defense Department is launching a project to repel, quote, large-scale automated disinformation attacks. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, didn't know that was a place,
Yeah, terrible.
wants to create custom software that can detect malicious intent and prevent viral fake news from polarizing society. Real quick, we got 2 stories already with a ton of big words. What's going on?
So this basically, they're looking.
You guys might
No,
know
I
the
get what
Defense
it- I
Advanced
get what it all
Research
means.
Projects Agency better as DARPA.
DARPA, yes.
the old DARPA.
Anyway, U.S. officials have been working on plans to prevent outside hackers from flooding social channels with false information ahead of the 2020 election. We all know the drama that caused in the last election with Trump saying dubious content on Facebook, Twitter, etc., probably MySpace, did not help him win, while Hillary's camp said that it did.
He said, she said.
Oh, classic.
Classic case.
AI imagery has advanced in recent years and is now used by Hollywood and the tech savvy. And this tech can easily be used to create fake videos, so fake news stories and so-called deepfakes are increasingly sophisticated and harder for both viewers and software to spot. Deepfakes are a real thing. You see those on the internet all the
They
time.
can make, this example with Jordan Peele is crazy.
Famously.
Who was the dude that did an impersonation? He was on, I think, with Fallon or one of those night shows a couple weeks ago.
It was
Bill Hader.
Yeah, Bill Hader and Tom
Bill
Cruise.
Hader.
And they
Yeah,
mixed
so he
in.
did Tom Cruise and Seth Rogen, and whenever he started doing the impression, when their faces switched, and you couldn't even hardly see where the transformation started, where it ends, you're like, whoa. And I just saw a story. There's a first time in Texas, there was a guy who worked for a huge oil company, and his boss, the CEO, called him, and he was like a money manager at one of these big corporations like Exxon. It wasn't Exxon, but it was one of those big oil companies. And he said, hey, I need you to divert $250,000 to this account and put it in there. I needed you to do it by the end of the day tomorrow. Well, he was also on the phone with the actual CEO. Somebody has figured out how to do voice technology where you can have an actual conversation through a filter and change your voice where it sounds exactly like somebody else. And I don't even know how you begin to do it. Do you, Kate? You did the research on this. How do they end up combating this?
They're creating a software and they're testing it out now so that hopefully it's done by the 2020 election, but it's algorithm checks. So this military research agency hopes it can spot fake news with malicious intent before it goes viral and wipe it out. So read this.
They said,
I'm going to read this. I'm reading all the tough sentences today. Tell me if you understand what this means. This is straight from DARPA.
yeah.
A comprehensive suite of semantic inconsistency detectors would dramatically increase the burden on media falsifiers, requiring the creators of falsified media to get every semantic detail correct, while defenders only need to find one or very few inconsistencies.
So, it's a lot of big words. Semantics, that's like a database. And then all the other words I think are pretty self-explanatory.
But break that down.
Well, a comprehensive suite of semantic
Shotgun
No.
inconsistency detectors. So that's like
The
very...
following paragraph
Oh.
breaks it down. You don't need to read it again. We don't. Need
I thought
to
I was going to read it, bit by bit and then
No.
explain each part. Okay, got it. Anyway, the government will be testing the software out with the process, including an ability to scan and evaluate 250,000 news articles and 250,000 social media posts with 5,000 fake items in the mix. The program has 3 phases over 48 months, initially covering news and social media before an analyst begins technical analysis. The project will also include week-long hackathons.
Right. So they're taking altogether 500,000 social media posts from news, social media, whatever, and they're planting 5,000 deepfakes in there, and they're working on this software and having hackathons on this software until it can pick out these 5,000 seamlessly and get rid of them, so that once they bring it to the real world, to the real
It'll
whatever,
work flawlessly.
it will work, and they'll be able to start taking these out. And a lot of them are from Russia.
And this is a
I
good
could
time
see
to do
Russia
that
from my
because there's
house.
so many stories that are coming out this week that just feel like it's fake. Like President Trump altering a hurricane chart with a Sharpie.
Yeah.
Like, would you ever believe that's a real story?
Oh.
And there's a dude I follow who is a PJ from the Air Force, and he's a great dude. He works in media. And he had a good warning because last week everybody got up in arms about the military children not being citizens right away. And
Right.
that wasn't exactly the case. The way that it was reported at first wasn't the case in the legal language and like the footnotes and shit like that. It's just so impossible to know what's real. Because if you showed me that 4 years ago on Facebook and like, here's an article that says the president of the United States altered a hurricane map that was going to hit Alabama and actually didn't, and he did it with a Sharpie, I'd be like, oh, that's from The Onion. Now it's real life.
Oh, yeah.
And then immediately the same PJ was like, maybe it's not Sharpie. Let's not jump to conclusions right away. He does have the largest media department in the world at his disposal. Maybe somebody actually printed this off instead of drawing it with a Sharpie. But it's like, how do you go through all these different crazy news stories that come up every day and pick the ones that are actually real?
Well,
I would love it if it got perfect and you're like, there is no political biases at all in any of these articles. Everything that we say on this website is going to be true, factual, and without bias. I think that would be the highest traffic news site in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it goes back to our discussion that we were having last week, I believe it was, where we said people just want to dunk on everyone. So it's a shoot first, ask questions later type society where they see something and, well, now I can go run to Facebook or run to Twitter and I can tell everyone how dumb they are because look at this story. And they don't even care to check.
A lot of times on Facebook, it's not very difficult to figure out which article is fake and which one isn't because it'll be like, this website and the source will be Moms and Me against fluoride and vaccine because measles aren't real.com. It's like, okay, maybe that's not exactly a scientific journal.
The other thing that the software is going to fight out, though, is that and it's been proven, there's like these social media farms in Russia where they're just constantly posting this disinformation of these fake stories and all this stuff. So it's going to put a stop to those accounts too, hopefully, is what it does. But I also picture this software kind of like the antibodies we have in our bodies and like almost like a vaccine, and it goes against it, but then the germs just get stronger and stronger. So I feel like as we develop new ways to point this stuff out, there's smart hackers all over the place, smart people.
They'll figure it out.
They'll find another way around it. But for now, at least for this next goddamn election, please help us sort this out a little bit. So I'm
Have
actually
you guys seen what those farms look like in Russia too?
It's insane.
They really are. Because you assume whenever it's something technical, like, oh, they have a couple computers in a room and they're doing it through like an algorithm or something like that. Oh, no. It's just room after room filled with cell phones.
Yep. And they're all hooked up and automated and like sending this shit out by the thousands, and people are eating it right up. It's all the new, it's very divisive posts and divisive stories and divisive whatever that crumbles us apart. And we're like, hi, Obama joined the Black Man. Yeah, you know.
And then certain people believe, man, Kathy 1297442785976328449F Trump 2025-72 has some really hot political takes.
She does, and she also wants to bone. Oh my god,
wow, this is crazy. She wants to send me nudes. This is the best.
Why did you slide into my
ever.
DMs with only "hi" as the message?
Yeah,
but not to disparage Russia or any of our Russian listeners, but what do you think?
Fuck them.
What do you think these people would be doing if they weren't working at the Russian farm bots?
Well, they're not real. Farm bots?
They're not real people, Cards.
Oh yeah, that was wow.
The farm bots would be working down at McDonald's, flipping burgers, man.
Shit,
they weren't. These
Cons is gonna want us to cut that. That is definitely. See you later, Cons.
Wow. What are these?
And Cons just proved exactly right then why we need this technology from the DoD.
Jesus Christ, I don't know that out that down.
What would at MAGA 69?
Well, because in retrospect, I shouldn't have said yes because I hadn't seen pictures. I hadn't seen pictures of what
guys,
they look like.
Before they put it
So
on
I was
top,
picturing a lot of people in rooms.
We found out Cons is ignorant about Russian farms, but we also found out that he is an integrity violator and lied.
Do you know Russian farms are twice the size of the United
I just
States?
didn't say anything.
You know how big Russian farms are? They're bigger than Greenland.
A lie of omission is what
Oh,
they
and
do.
he cursed, too.
And he
Oh,
cursed. Wow, you can kick rocks
You
on
got
that.
really backed him
Before
into a
they do
corner on
this
this one.
software, Captain Cons here, they should really think about, displacing all these jobs for these poor bots.
And what are these farmers going to do? They're going to go back to potatoes after they're done with this?
With this stuff, I know these poor bots, man.
These damn potatoes?
They got to feed their little bot families.
I'm gonna be down. I'm gonna be down here.
Got a lot of little bot mouths to feed. So.
All right, let's move on to round 3. Hopefully, Cons can redeem himself.